We all know adversity is going to hit. So what kinds of things are we doing now so that when adversity does hit, that we're ready?
Welcome to Everybody Pulls the Tarp, the go-to podcast for high performers. I'm Andrew Moses, and each week I talk with Olympians, pro athletes, TV stars, Grammy winners, best-selling authors, CEOs, and other high performers to uncover their success secrets. Every conversation is jam-packed with inspiration and actionable ideas we all can apply to our own lives, personally and professionally. Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the techniques, processes, and mindsets powering the world's most successful people. Let's go. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Everybody Pulls the Tarp. This week, my guest is Florida State University women's basketball head coach Brooke Wyckoff. Long before her coaching career began, Brooke excelled as a student athlete at Florida State and then had a 9-year WNBA career. When her pro playing career came to an end due to a torn ACL, Brooke made the move into coaching, initially serving as an assistant girls basketball coach at her high school in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2011, she returned to Florida State, this time as part of Florida State's coaching staff, and over the subsequent years, served as an assistant, then the team's associate head coach, and even as the interim head coach during a medical leave of absence for then head coach Sue Semrau. After Brooke's time leading the program as its interim head coach, she returned to her role as associate head coach, back in the second-in-command seat, but now equipped with all of the experience she gained while serving as head coach on an interim basis. And just as a quick aside, that whole experience of serving as interim head coach, in my opinion, is both an incredible opportunity and a challenge. On one hand, as an interim head coach, you get to experience the role, but you also have to walk a fine line because you aren't officially the head coach. And then after living in the role and seeing that you can do it, you often go back to your original role like Brooke then did for a period of time. So needless to say, that phase of Brooke's career was definitely something that I was excited to dive into with her. Now, back to Brooke's career timeline. Like I said moments ago, after filling in as interim head coach, Brooke then returned to her role as associate head coach for a bit. And then, in 2022, Brooke was officially named Florida State's head coach. From there, Brooke's young head coaching career has been off to a fantastic start. Florida State has made the NCAA postseason in each of her first 3 seasons as head coach, something no other Florida State coach has done to start their career. And like a true tarp puller, Brooke works to lift others up along the way. Years ago, shortly after her daughter was born, Brooke started Moms in Coaching, an organization for moms in the coaching profession that meets every Final Four to learn from and support one another. Brooke maintains a text chain to keep the group connected throughout the year and also writes a quarterly newsletter to help and inspire other moms in the coaching profession. Brooke's success as a new head coach on the court has also come amidst a battle with significant adversity outside of basketball. In 2023, Brooke was diagnosed with breast cancer and has continued to courageously lead the program throughout her treatment. Brooke and I recorded the conversation you are about to hear in mid-November, just a few days before Florida State's 2024-2025 regular season began. Our conversation is a powerful behind-the-scenes look at Brooke's journey and many of the philosophies, ideas, and mindsets powering her success. It's jam-packed with ideas we all can apply to our own lives, and I hope you take away as much from this one as I have. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. So, let's pull the tarp and get straight to Brooke Wyckoff. I am curious, was coaching always in the cards for you? Did you always know that this was something that you wanted to do?
Absolutely not. It was not at all in the cards for me, according to my plans. When I got injured and retired, as you just said, I thought, okay, what's next? What besides basketball? So I was pursuing a lot of other careers, but as life happens, as things happen, I don't always know what's best. And here I am. And this is an amazing place to be. I'm glad it didn't work out the way I wanted it to originally.
So out of curiosity, what were some of the other career paths under consideration?
Yeah. So I got my degree in secondary education. I always wanted to be a high school teacher, high school social studies teacher. So I was working on pursuing like getting certified in Ohio, where I was at the time. I was looking into sales. I was looking into, and just searching around. I was 29 and trying to figure out what was next in life. It's a scary time, but basketball just pulled me back in.
So you joined the Florida State staff in 2011, and this was like a homecoming for you. You're one of the icons of Florida State women's basketball, one of only 4 players to have your jersey retired, the only Seminole to ever earn 4 All-ACC academic women's basketball team honors. Started all 109 games that you played at Florida State in your career, which is an incredible stat, maybe my favorite, and then a 9-year WNBA career. Now, I'm curious, come back to Florida State. You're kind of on the other side of the curtain now.
Mm-hmm.
Join the coaching staff. What was the most surprising thing about either the environment at Florida State women's basketball, coaching at the collegiate level, that maybe you didn't have an appreciation for during your extraordinary time as a player at Florida State?
Wow. There are so many things that fall under that category. I mean, just as a player, and rightly so, you are very, very focused on what you're doing. Although we're in a team sport, it is, when you're playing a sport, it's performance based. You're working on yourself. You're making sure you're fit. You're working on your game, your skills. How did you play that game? So I had no idea about the majority of the things that went on at the collegiate level in coaching. I had no idea the time spent just thinking about the players, just thinking about the well-being of the players. How are they doing? What are they thinking? How are they going to play? What do we need from them? Do they have enough money to eat? All these things. The recruiting side of it, I had no idea. That's a whole nother world that you never have to think about as a player. So that was a really fun part of the job. Like you said, being behind the curtain and just being able to look back on my years as a player and be like, wow, like I loved all my coaches throughout my career, but it made me appreciate every single one of them so much more in retrospect based on what I encountered when I got here to Florida State.
I think that's similar to parenting. I think you appreciate your parents when you're a kid, but your appreciation goes to a whole new level when you have children of your own and you see what goes into it. I think that's a similar parallel.
Exactly. The same exact feeling. And it's really gratifying. It really brings life to a deeper perspective. And so that's why I'm thankful for it, not only to be a mom and have that perspective, but also being a coach at my alma mater. It just brings that into clarity so much more.
Does being a coach at your alma mater create extra pressure? Or do you feel like that maybe extra pressure that could exist is it overcome by like the honor and the privilege that you feel to coach at your alma mater?
Yeah, I think the pressure for me, at least here, is self-imposed. That Florida State is such a special place to me, what it's meant to me, what I know about it, the people here, what they've poured into me. And so to know that they've entrusted me with this now, yes, I feel that extra sense of what I'm assuming is an extra sense. Hopefully I feel the pressure anywhere I went, but just that extra sense of wanting this to be great, not just for me and my coaching career, but for Florida State and all the people that made this place what I know to be and poured into me.
I mean, you've done an extraordinary job in your role as head coach at Florida State, but I know from talking to so many others who have left an incredible mark on a place and then have an opportunity to come back, there sometimes is that fear that, hey, what happens if this doesn't work out? Or what happens if this goes differently than that run of success I had? And was that something that had entered your mind kind of in the process, or you're just too excited at the time to be coming home? And
I mean, it's always, of course, in this business, anything is possible. And this business is also very, what have you done for me lately? Right? We're not resting on any laurels. Nobody's going, oh, she was great, so we'll just give her 10 more years because she's in the past been good. It's like, you've got to be good now. But it was not a fear because I know this place. I love this place. And I knew that I was going to give every ounce of what I had to making it go. The other piece was is that the foundation had been laid. And I, being a part of that foundation as a player and as a coach, what Coach Sue Semrau did here to set me up for success, to set this place up for success based on who we are as a program, our philosophy, and the success we've had on the court. I had seen all that for the most part over the years being built. So it's just continuing to stay the course and staying relevant, of course, and modernizing and things like that. But so it was more of like, you know what? I know how this should go. Seen it done. Let's just keep going.
Yeah, I think one of the great tests of any leader is how successful the place can be after they're gone. And so certainly Coach Sue Semrau has set you all up for a remarkable run of success that you continue to build on. So let's talk about Coach Semrau for a bit. And one of the fascinating pieces of your career is this, idea that, you were an assistant coach, then you were an associate head coach, then you were the interim head coach when Coach Semrau went out on a leave of absence, and then went back to associate head coach when she returned, and then eventually became head coach officially, or without the interim title.
Right.
I'm curious. I mean, that's a unique path. I mean, it's not one of one, but it's something that very few people, as leaders encounter, where you get to actually sit in the chair, kind of on an interim temporary basis.
Yep.
And then you go back and then you eventually sit in the chair. So I want to first double click into that when you're sitting in that interim seat. Now that has to be a unique position as a leader. Here you are now at the helm temporarily of a legendary program on behalf of the person that has poured her career and heart and soul into you, both as a player and as a coach. What is that like? Are you wrestling, trying to not do too much and change? Are you trying to focus just on keeping stable? Talk to me about that. That is such a fascinating situation to be in. Yeah,
it really was. I'm so thankful for it. The other wrench in the system in the whole thing with that was that it was a COVID year. So it was not only am I trying to navigate being the interim head coach, but we're navigating COVID. That was when we didn't play as many games. We were all on lockdown and testing every day and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really unique situation. My goal in that year was just to be an extension of Coach Sue, just to try to take care of the players, which is always her first priority. And doing that through COVID presented a lot of fun, interesting challenges. And then, to be successful and just to keep status quo and do our very best. So we were able to do that. We were able to go to the NCAA tournament, and I didn't move into our office. I wasn't saying, here I am, this is about me now. It was really being in touch with her, understanding where we wanted to take this thing this year and how to navigate it. But again, I was able to, stand up, coach games, navigate unique challenges, which is head coaching. You never know what's going to come. So going through a COVID year gave me that kind of experience of problem solving and crisis management and all the things, working really closely with administration through all of that. And then to be able to go back as an assistant the next year and just sit back and then watch Coach Sue from the lens of, okay, I just did this. Now I'll watch her do it, having had that experience. I learned so much more that year of wow, okay, I remember being in this situation. Now I get to see how she's handling it and truly understand that situation and watch how she handled it and learn. What a great just way to prepare for being in this role ultimately.
It is such an incredible situation. And I think, again, so many coaches have told me, Andrew, you cannot imagine the difference between those 18 inches between the associate head coach or lead assistant chair and then that head coach. You got to live it through an extraordinary, unprecedented circumstance with it being the COVID year.
Yeah.
And then you got to go back to your previous role and watch her kind of execute the decisions that you were executing when you were in the interim role. So fascinating. I mean, did you feel like things maybe slowed down a little bit? Like, were there things that you were seeing in the game, on or off the floor that you just felt like maybe these were things like I didn't see before?
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest things was coaching a game, like actually standing up and coaching. It's like playing. When you're an assistant coach, obviously you're into it. You're standing up at times, you're giving advice or calling plays or whatever you're doing as an assistant. When you're the coach, you're on. When you're the head coach, you're on the whole time. And you're out in front, you're making the decisions, you're like caught up in the game, which is really fun. It was like playing again. It was, you come into into halftime and you're like sweating. And Sue used to do that. Sue used to come in and at halftime be like, oh my gosh, I'm so hot, and I'm be like, I'm fine. I'm not, it's not so hot out there. But I understood that finally. And that's a really fun, the nerves you get before a game, it's the similar to how I used to feel as a player, just that excitement level. So that was really cool to see what was like, yes, there's more responsibility, but also like, wow, there's a lot of fun related to it.
That is really interesting. I mean, you got to experience not only the challenges, but you got a glimpse into some of the fun. And it was, you're able to channel some of that adrenaline and that energy and emotion that you had as a player. So now let's fast forward. Now you get the head coaching job officially without the interim title. Now you're charged with, taking over for the legendary Coach Sue on a full-time permanent basis. And what does that look like? I'm always fascinated by how, like someone steps into a new leadership role. How do you balance kind of putting your own fingerprints on it while also making sure that you don't change things too quickly? Like, how did you process that?
Yeah, that's been the journey that I'm still on. And it's really like fun isn't the word. It's gratifying. It's challenging. It's just on the personal level of me as a person and character building, all that kind of stuff. That part of it has been amazing and hard. And so what I was crystal clear on, two things when I took the job, is that I am not Coach Sue. We're very different. But I did know that the foundation she had laid, the way that she operated her program, which was people first. People first. We care about people. We take care of people. We make this a place where people want to be, whether that's the players, the staff, the community, like a servant leadership type of philosophy around everything we do. I knew that was what I wanted to do. That's what I believe. That's how I came up in this program. Just that kind of just baseline philosophical approach. But after that, in terms of what we do on the basketball court, just X's and O's wise, who we recruit or the type of player we recruit, people on the staff, like all those things I knew were going to be different. It was time to figure out what those things were going to be. So that's been really fun. And I've never felt any outside pressure to like, oh, you got to be Coach Sue, which is nice. And she really was the one that set me up to like, as I was an assistant and coming up and learning more and more, she would give me responsibility and allow me to be me, not ask me to be her. And she would allow me to be who I was in the roles that she was giving me. So that really helped too.
All right, everyone. We'll get back to the conversation momentarily. But first, I want to tell you about my free weekly email newsletter, Tarp Pullers. Each week, I share an uplifting and inspirational tarp pulling story that is sure to brighten your day. And I also highlight some of the most powerful ideas I've learned on my journey talking to 200 and counting of the world's top performers. The newsletter is short, concise, and a reader recently told me this. She said it makes her day every time it hits her inbox. Go to everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter to sign up today. You mentioned recruiting there and identifying the type of player that you recruit. What are some of the key attributes of the types of players that you look for, besides obviously being extraordinarily talented on the basketball court?
Right. Being a top 5 player is number one on our list. But I mean, really, yes. Like the first thing you look at is obviously who are they as a basketball player? Are they good? Do they fit? We have a very clear identity on the offensive and defensive end. Like, do they fit what we do, their skill set? Then after that, it really is we've got to make sure that they fit who we are, our culture. Are they the type of player that with the personality, what are their social skills? What kind of background do they come from? Family, all of those things. Like, will they fit? Will they be comfortable here? And that's really goes into finding out, what do they want? What are their priorities? And what do they really want? Because people say things that they want, but then trying to underneath that all, like, what are they really looking for? And do we have that here at Florida State? And so that's the tough side of it. Anyone can look and see, like, oh, this is a good player. Oh, she shoots the three, or she fits our system, or she's athletic and she can play great defense. It's all the rest of it. And that's really what goes into their success at a place, I believe, and their longevity at a place.
I have to imagine and I've talked to so many coaches about this, and in particular the last number of years. I mean, I have to imagine identifying if the players' interests and motivations are aligned with the programs have to have gotten way more complicated in the last few years, now that we've got the transfer portal and the NIL and all this stuff, which creates all these amazing opportunities for the athletes and it's fantastic, but it has to make it even harder for a coach. So how do you go about making sure that, or doing your best, because you can never be totally sure. How do you go about making sure that you feel like there's a good match there?
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right what you just said. You can never be totally sure until someone actually shows up and goes through a season. It's two different ways. I mean, when it's a high school kid, you have more time usually to get to know the people around them, to really spend time talking to that kid over a matter of months or years. You go visit, you go have them in on an official visit with their family for 2 days. There's usually, as we know, like one or two people that are really, really in their ear. And it could be a parent. It might not be. It might be a coach, an AAU coach. It could be, now you got agents, you got like all kinds of people in these kids' ears. So finding that out, with high school kids, you have more time. Transfer portal, you have no time. So that's like where I don't want to say crapshoot comes in, but you really had, hopefully, like, and what we try to do is lean on previous relationships with either coaches that these kids have played for, or maybe we've recruited the kid before and we know their family, but figuring out, like, who are they really? And what do they want? That's a big thing in the transfer portal too. A lot of times high school kids, like, they just want to go to a good place where they can make an impact in some way or another. There's a longer timeline with them. But transfers, it's like they want something specific. And it's not always what they say they want.
One of the things with the transfer portal that I've been thinking about, like this comparison, it's like maybe a weird comparison, but we used to have a fish tank. And one of the things I learned when we had a fish tank was that you can't just, like, because you want 10 new fish, you can't just go out and like buy the 10 new fish and dump the 10 new fish into the tank, because it's going to kind of rattle all the chemistry, the pH level and the acidity and all these different things. And they're like, you got to get 2 or 3 fish and put them in and wait a couple of weeks. Like, how do you think about that? Like, not so much the fish tank, but like the idea that when you're acclimating a new player, you're acclimating them into the program for a reason. Hopefully there's a match in what they're looking for and what you're looking for. How do you make sure that the transition is seamless? Like, what's some of the types of things that you're doing to make sure that they get acclimated well?
Yeah, that's such a great analogy. I love that. And it's so true. For me, I just start with as much clarity and realistic talk as possible. There is no perfect scenario out there. I mean, in terms of everything is checked off the list. So I just try to be very, very honest about, okay, this is why we need you. This is the role that we need you in. And there's obviously going to be room for growth probably in most of these transfers. But you're coming here to do this. And this is what our roster is going to look like. These are the kids that are going to play. And this is the opportunity you'll have. So I try to have as much clarity as possible and ask for clarity from them as well. And that extends not just to basketball, but just like, of course, like, what are your, NIL opportunities here? What are they realistically, just being upfront. And then hopefully they make the decision because what you clearly told them works for them. And also with our kit players, we try to make sure that they had time alone with our players to ask those questions. And I encourage our players to just be real. Like, what is it like here? What is it like playing for me? What is it like at Florida State? So they have all the information.
I think one of the interesting things about leadership and parenting and coaching, which I actually think are all very similar disciplines, is I feel like as a coach or as a leader, as a parent, you're always trying to strike the balance and like the right amount of struggle and joy.
Yeah.
If things are too hard, it's demoralizing and defeating.
Yeah.
If things are too easy, you're not growing.
Yeah.
How do you think about that? And how do you make sure that there's the right blend in the Florida State women's basketball program?
It's a daily
struggle.
That's the job right there. Like, as you said, in leadership, it's like, you know that your job is to ask people to do things they don't want to do. It's to ask them to be uncomfortable. It's to push them to places that they never thought that they could go, help them achieve the most. The other part of the job in parenting and in coaching is to love these people, take care of them, especially if they're kids. I mean, these are still kids that we're working with at the college level, and to nurture them and to make them feel safe and all of those things. So it is a daily balance, and you really have to be in tune with the people that you're coaching. There is no cookie cutter year. Every team needs something different, even if it's mostly the same kids. I mean, we have 8 returners this year, and it's a completely different feel. Each one of them are in different phases of their life and all of that. So it's being in tune with the people that you're trying to lead, understanding where you still want them to go, and then deciding day to day, what do they need today? Do they need hugs? Do they need me to, push them a little bit or a lot? Do they need a little bit of a punishment feel today? Or is it like, no, you got this daily? And it's exhausting, but ultimately the reason why we're here.
It is the reason that you're here. It's so powerful. It's so beautifully said the way you put it there. I mean, it's a daily challenge. I mean, you could have program goals for 3, 5, 10 years, and you could have goals for this season. But at the end of the day, it comes down to day where you're trying to keep your hand on those dials and turn them up, turn them down. It's interesting. I mean, have you ever encountered a moment where you're not sure what the group needs on a daily basis? And if you get into those moments, like, what do you do? Do you ask the team? Do you ask your staff? Do you take a step back? What happens there?
Yeah. I mean, all the time. I mean, I tell our players, like, I know I'm not going to make the right decision every decision I make. I make a million decisions a day, and I'm going to mess up just like anybody. There's days where I am crystal clear of what we need that day. There's and we're going to go do that, and I got to follow that, no matter what, how hard it may be. And then there's other days, that it's like, what do we need today? And that's where I have a great staff that's just also very connected to our players, connected to what's going on. And we discuss those types of things. And I also the relationships with the players, like being able to call our captains in and just ask them, how are you doing? What do you need? What do we need as a team? I need you guys to tell me, what's the tone? How are we feeling? I do that a lot. And I may or may not go with what I'm told, but that's not a perfect science. I wish it was. It'd be a lot easier.
Nothing is a perfect science. And you're no stranger to navigating adversity. I mean, things like tearing your ACL and then diagnosed with breast cancer, you're very public about that. Aside from leading by example through challenges, whether it be personal or professional, what else do you do to help the players navigate adversity head on? Because the only thing that's certain is that adversity is going to strike. It's going to strike in different forms and at different times. But what types of things do you do to help the players deal with that?
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, that's another huge part of the job is to, first of all, like you said, like just be real with them. And, it kind of starts in the summer. And summer is usually like when we're all getting together for the first time with our new team. And things are good. It's light, it's fun. We're having fun on the court. We're getting to know each other. It's fun. And everybody's always like, wow, like I love this team. I love everything. Everything's good. And I always, without trying to be just the Debbie Downer all the time, but just saying, okay, I'm so glad things are good right now. But we all know adversity is going to hit. So what kinds of things are we doing now so that when adversity does hit, that we're ready to absorb that and to take it head on and to respond? So it's first and foremost making sure that we are as connected as a team as possible, really getting to know each other and to understand each other so that, the internal conflicts are where adversity probably first hits, as it for the team before we even start playing games or as we start playing games, like playing time, or she's playing better than me, or I want this ball, or whatever that may be. Building those relationships is a huge part of it. And then just working again, our relationships of giving them opportunities to publicly or in small groups or one-on-one talk about things that are difficult, talk about things that or how they're feeling, give feedback. So it can look all different types of ways, but that's really how we work on it so that when it does come, we're like, okay, I know, like, that I've got you. That I hope that we built enough of a relationship that I have your best interest at heart. I have this team's best interest at heart. So let's go, let's talk it through. Let's figure it out.
That's such an important idea that I think everybody listening can, it's one of the many powerful ideas you've shared that everybody listening can take from this conversation is that regardless of what we do, adversity is always going to strike. And the time to plan for the adversity is when things are going well and things are feeling good. And we got to look around the corners and we got to think about what may present itself and plan and prepare so that we're a little bit more comfortable when it does.
Yes.
Shifting gears a little bit as we get ready to, start winding down the conversation. Shortly after your daughter was born, you founded Moms in Coaching, which is a group of mothers who coach basketball that meet every year at the NCAA Women's Final Four. I'm so fascinated by this. You guys have this ongoing group text. You give each other pep talks. You stay connected that way. You talked, moments ago about the idea of it's important to stay connected.
Yeah.
You also write a quarterly newsletter to Moms in Coaching. You do so much. I'm curious. Obviously, you have given so much to others by creating that community. What's like one thing that you've taken from that community that's helped you?
Well, I started it selfishly because I needed it. And that's what it is that literally the thing that I've most taken from it is the sheer knowledge that there are other women out there going through this exact same thing, that there are other women out there that have tried to balance this job with motherhood and have made it and have arrived, and that it is possible. Literally, that is what formalizing this group and seeing these women in person every year, the amount of women that fill a room that are in all different levels and areas of the country and roles in coaching and have kids, 1, 6, little babies, college age, that's what I rely on when it's like, man, can I do this? Is this actually do it? Am I crazy? No, I'm not. I know that those women are out there. And so that's when I was pregnant and I was starting to, I was on the road recruiting and all these women that I had no idea had kids, because you don't see women with kids, we're not bringing our kid. They're not on the bench or they're not on the road with us recruiting a lot of times. They're like, oh, I had like 2 or 3 kids. I'm like, you do? Tell me how you do this. Give me advice. So that's the best part of Moms in Coaching. And I hope that's what also inspires women in coaching that don't have children yet, that are thinking, is it possible? Can I do this? Do I need to give one thing up? No, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Aside from maybe worrying that you might not be able to be a successful coach and a successful mom, which it sounds like, the Moms in Coaching group has helped you alleviate. What's one other thing that you worried about a ton when you got into this business that you wish you hadn't spent so much time worrying about?
Oh, great question. I think the only time where you wonder, we always, it's just as humans, like we want more than what we have in the present moment. When I first started, it was like, I want to be more involved in like what Coach Sue and the associate head coach at the time, like we're doing and planning and things like that. And it's like, I wasn't ready for that. And it's great to want things and to aspire to, but it's like, as we know, I mean, we all in any field and parent, whatever it is, like, it's just this like focus on what you have in front of you. Do your best with that, whatever responsibility it is. It inevitably, if you take the time, you spend the time, you will grow, you will change, you will get more opportunity and responsibility. So another thing I try, that's the work of coaching kids, coaching in general, is to really inspire that belief, like what you have right now might not be exactly what you want, but if you stay the course, if you're dedicated with what you've got right now and you do great with that, gosh, there's so much ahead of you. Wow.
Coach Brooke Wyckoff, this has been so much fun. I could ask you questions for hours, but you've got a team to coach, and I hope we can get to do a part 2 or 3 sometime. This has been so much fun. As I like to say every week on this podcast, you are a certified tarp puller. You live the everybody pulls the tarp mindset personally and professionally. You lift others up along the way while finding your success as well. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this week. This has really been a ton of fun. I've learned a lot.
Thank you, Andrew. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me this week. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so you can catch all of our upcoming episodes. And if you are like me and want a world full of tarp pullers, then leave a review to help others find us. You can also follow me on Instagram at AndrewMoses123 and sign up for my email newsletter at everybodypullsthetarp.com/newsletter. I'll share tips and insights to help you achieve maximum success and happiness. Until next time, keep pulling the tarp.